What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Azura Media Club, home of the Bad Girl Coven. I'm your Coven leader, Emily, and here we're talking about Code Lyoko Evolution for the last time. Now, initially, and for years, ever since there was an announcement of a Code Lyoko Evolution, this live-action show, it was always in my head as this is terrible. It's going to be a piece of shit. I will never watch this show. Why would I ever do that? The first series was great, and I don't need that continued. Fuck all of that. I want to stand up for it right now. I never thought I'd be saying this. Seriously. I have gone on for years about how I thought there was no way Code Lyoko Evolution could be good. I told all my friends. I said, look at these characters. They look nothing like the original. Fuck that. The characters, they actually look basically like the original, except for, like, Ulrich and Aelita, and they changed Sissy a lot, but Aelita looks a little weird, but you get used to it. You get used to Ulrich, too. I liked it. I liked Ulrich. He doesn't have the big, tall hair, but he does on Lyoko, so, I mean, that's, like, kind of the inconsistency there. But, like, William looks great. Like, Yumi looks great. Like, Ulrich looks pretty good. You know, Jeremy looks like basically what Jeremy would look like. You know, so no complaints there. Like, most of the characters look like what they look like, you know, from the animated show. And of course now you've got different voices and stuff, and it's a whole French cast because it was only ever in French. So, subtitles, that's a new thing too. You gotta read it in subtitles, because I always watched the show in English, of course. But I don't know, there's something nice about that too. I don't love reading subtitles. I'm kind of against it in a lot of ways. But some shows are just better subtitled. Like, I didn't mind it. Let's say it that way. And honestly, I was super shocked. Like, this show is actually really good. Like, it's not, like, amazing or anything, but every episode I wanted to watch the next episode after I watched it. And it's actually, like, a pretty good continuation of, like, Code Lyoko. Like, I had a lot of problems with, like, the later two seasons of Code Lyoko. They got kind of stale and boring. This, like, reinvigorates Code Lyoko. It's amazing how, like, it just sparks so much life into it. It felt like the first season, or, like, the second season, where you were excited to, like, learn about all this stuff, because they added all this stuff to it. I forgot to talk about Jim. Jim is better than in the original. I don't even know how the fuck they did that, but they made Jim better than in the original, and I love the new Jim. I mean, I love all of the new characters. They're so, like, much more developed, you know? They don't just... I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's just better overall. Like, not, like, better than the whole show of Code Lyoko, but, like, better than the later seasons, because, like I said, they just kind of got stale, and they didn't really do much with the characters, and they didn't really progress at all anywhere. But here, they finally did stuff. So now, okay, so it's a evolution to Code Lyoko, right? So they have to turn on the supercomputer again because they see that Xana is actually attacking again. But, you know, they turned off the supercomputer and they destroyed Xana. How can that be happening, right? Well, Xana's on a backup. Spoilers for Code Lyoko Evolution, by the way. Xana's on a backup on this guy Tyron's fucking computer. And so it's like this whole other network. And this guy's also got Aelita's mom, which we don't find out until, like, way later in the thing. She's actually Aelita's stepdad, which they fucking reveal in the last episode. That was fucking cool as shit. So they're trying to figure out a way to, like, destroy Xana. They find this Cortex, which is Tyron's computer, at his, like, facility or whatever. And so it's like a new, whatever the big ball things with, like, the little penis entrance are. That's what it literally looks like. It's so wrong looking. I wish they would have fixed that, but whatever. So they have to, like, go on the skid to go to this new Cortex, and they have this new vehicle called the Megapod that they, like, navigate through this Cortex. And the Lyoko sections actually look, like, really good this time around, too. They're kind of upgraded. They upgraded the character designs and whatnot. And I actually like the new character designs. They're all, like, really good, actually. They all still look really good. There's new, like, enemies. Like, Tyron's got these, like, ninja, like, shape-shifting guys, basically, that, like, just can kind of, like, come out of the floor in the cortex, and then anywhere, like, on the cortex, like, around the, like, the core of the cortex, they can also, like, come out there. And there was this one episode where one of them followed him back on the skid to Lyoko, and then, like, put this tracker, like, underneath this bridge, and so, like, Tyron, like, knew where they were or whatever, and there's really interesting stuff going on. That's what I really love about this. And then, if you, like, I don't know if this is completely accurate, because I can't really remember everything that happens in the first show, but, like, there's always those men in black that are coming after, like, Aelita's mom, or whatever, or like, Franz Hopper and all of that. If you think about it, like, that's Tyron. It's so obvious now. Like, I don't know how I didn't think about that before, but yeah, that's exactly like that, right? Like, what was the explanation for that in the show? Was it just, like, the government or something? Like, I swear, it's gotta be Tyron and his guys coming after, you know, them. That would make so much sense. Like, he's got another supercomputer and stuff. There's a great new character also, Laura. I guess she kind of never got resolved, in a sense, but I really liked her when she was part of the Lyoko crew. She kind of screwed up at some point and basically tried to override Jeremy and the others, and it got, like, William taken over again, by Xana and stuff. So she basically got, like, excluded from the party, and she was always, like, fighting her way to get into the party, because Aelita just, like, didn't like her, because she's kind of like this other nerdy girl that's, like, smarter than Jeremy sometimes, but she would help with, like, the supercomputer stuff, and, like, all of this stuff, and, like, programming, and, like, she did all this cool stuff. She made some bad decisions, of course, but she ended up, like, kind of trying to team up with Tyron, like, very later on. Not that she knew she was doing that, but she actually led Tyron to them. Because she, like, didn't remember. She could remember for a while there, like, when they would go back in time and stuff. Even though she'd never been on Lyoko, even though she was about to go on Lyoko one time, which would have been awesome, but they didn't want to make new character designs, I guess, or whatever. I still think Jeremy should have gone to Lyoko at some point, but whatever. So yeah, I really liked Laura and her character, and I thought that was great. Underutilized Sissy in this show. She's only in, like, 2 episodes, and after the whole, like, they're gonna be friends thing, like, I thought that was a little underplayed, I guess. That's maybe, like, one flaw. But I still like Sissy. I mean, I like Sissy in the original too, but she's good here too whenever they do utilize her. But there's, oh yeah, so there's, like, these new mechanics with they all have code now, like, that's, like, tied to, they can all deactivate towers now. Like, Jeremy figured out how to let them do that. But there's, like, code that's tied to that, I guess, that, like, is also linked to Xana somehow. So Xana wants to get this code from him. So it's kind of back to basics in terms of, like, we can make specters or whatever they're called, you know, and then, like, they're basically, like, a copy of somebody, you know, in the world there, and then they'll come after them and try to take their code. So that's, like, the whole setup for, like, Xana activates a tower, then there's a specter, you know, and then they try to go and get the code. And so yeah, not too bad. It was basic but interesting, you know, and I liked that. There was a lot going on, though, aside from that aspect of it. You know, Xana was always, like, kind of gaining power. They were building this virus the whole time to try to, like, take out Xana, but to do that, because Xana's on Tyron's computer, so to do that, they constantly had to go inside the, like, core of the cortex to, like, do research and stuff. But, like, when they're there, Tyron can see them too. There's one of the later episodes where Aelita just, like, camps there for, like, a couple of days, like, trying to get a glimpse of her mom, because her mom was there, and they, like, saw that in one of the other episodes. And that's a whole subplot there, is, like, that stuff. They touched on the Yumi and Ulrich stuff like a little bit. I think they kind of developed that all right, but like it didn't really go anywhere, much like in the original show. But you know, it was there enough, I guess. But I really liked William, because William's there, and now he's like, because he didn't really get a lot to do in the original show, and he was taken over for most of that time, so he didn't really get a lot of time to shine. But now he's just like a regular member of the team, and that's really nice to have William there. And he's a good character too. I like William as a character, you know. Like I said, there's that one episode where Laura tries to go against Jeremy's wishes and like go and put the virus into the system. The whole reason they weren't gonna do it is because they wanted to go after like Aelita's mom and try to figure out what was the deal with her, since they saw her on the screen. But Laura just wanted to destroy Xana, which is reasonable, but she kind of got power hungry in that sense, and everyone else basically didn't want anything to do with that, or you know, they kind of had all agreed beforehand. But she corners William and is like, hey, we're both outsiders, right? Like, let's do this together. So he goes in alone, and it just turns out to be like this shitstorm of like badness, and he like gets taken over or whatever, and she has to like tell Jeremy to come and like to get him back, and it's like a whole thing, and then they exclude her from the group at that point. But I always liked when she was in episodes. There was an episode where like Tyron finds them, and he like sends his guy to like go kind of test them on their abilities of quantum mechanics. That's how she gets the card for at the end, like the later episode, how she can call Tyron again or whatever. But she's like ready to almost side with them in that episode. She's always kind of fringe. She's always right on the edge of like betraying the group or like going against it, but you see it like in her. She's really conflicted, and I think that's what makes her such an interesting character, is you just never know which side she's gonna kind of go to, you know. But I wanted to root for her. I just liked her as a new character. I thought she was really well done, and maybe even that conflict definitely like gave her a little more intrigue or mystery there to like really grasp onto, and I liked that. And yeah, a lot of the dynamic is still the same, you know. It's still the school setting, and they have to go to classes and this and that, and like of course they've recast all the teachers, and they're all like younger, and like the old lady teacher who's like the science teacher is now like hot or whatever, and like younger, and of course, you know, so they do all that kind of shit, and it's like but yeah, like, there's a lot of name dropping too, you know, there's a lot of references to the original show there, even if we don't get to see all of those original characters. But they also, like, cut elements from the original show, a lot of characters that showed up. Oh, Samantha from the original show, who was, like, Odd's, like, love interest in a couple of episodes, she's kind of a really big deal in this show. She's, like, the one Odd's kind of going after the whole time, which is interesting. The music too, yeah, now that I'm listening to this, it's different, and I wanted to mention that because the opening is different, and like all of the music is like not the same music that they used previously. They like redid most of it, so that's interesting. But yeah, you know, you still have all the digital C stuff. None of that transporting to the real world and other locations kind of stuff, which is interesting. Because that was a really interesting aspect of the later episodes of Code Lyoko there in like the last season. I don't know if I'm like happy that they didn't do that or what, but I feel like it was a pretty basic setup. Like, they were definitely... They stuck with what they had, you know? They didn't really make a lot more than, like, the school, and then, like, they had the factory set, and then they had, like, the Lyoko stuff that they would, like, digitally animate or whatever. And for something like that, where it's actually pretty minimalist, it's really interesting how much they, like, squeezed out of, like, the few spots that they actually had, you know? Like, because I feel like in Code Lyoko that happens a lot too, where it's like, it's just the same stuff again and again. It gets a little repetitive and stale, like, background-wise and whatnot, but, like, here, I don't know, for some reason it works, just because you're not always necessarily worried about that. You're worried about, like, the intrigue of the mysteries of like, what's going on, or, like, how are they going to do this, or what's going to happen next. I just wanted to watch the next episodes, because I always wanted to see what happened next, you know? It's only 26 episodes, too, so that's pretty good. I feel like mostly everything was resolved. Obviously, kind of... So it ends with them inserting this virus to, like, defeat Xana or whatever. But, like, Tyron shuts down his supercomputer. So whenever he starts up that supercomputer again, it's gonna destroy Xana, I guess. But they shut down their supercomputer too. So it's like the only stuff left to, like, really resolve is, like, Tyron coming after Aelita and, like, Aelita's mom and all of that kind of aspect of things. Which, you know, is not a lot to resolve. You don't even need another season for that. I would take, like... wouldn't it be great if we just got, like, a Code Lyoko Evolution, like, movie to tie it all up or something, right? I mean, you know, it was several years ago. This is, like, 12 years ago when they fucking made this show, so everyone's, like, way older now. So I don't think it would really work out, or maybe they can do something with it. I don't know. But, like, a fan project would be nice or something, you know, like, I don't know. There's several other fan continuations of Code Lyoko, and I don't necessarily know if any of them are going to be that great or any good, or how would you do that, you know, like, but I was thoroughly impressed with Code Lyoko Evolution. Actually really good show there. And it surprised me so much that it was actually well done. It was, like, actually a good show. You know, like, I was actually engaged. I wanted to see more, you know? Like, I was rearing just every episode to see more, like I said. And that's the sign of a good show, when you just want to keep watching. Like, when you have to go to sleep, but you just want to keep watching episodes. Like, I would watch episodes until I would, like, fall asleep, you know? Like, because... like, you have to read the subtitles, obviously, so it's like you still have to pay attention to it, but, like, I would be there watching, reading the subtitles, and I'd just be, like, falling asleep. And, you know, that's the sign of a good show. You don't want to stop watching, even when you're tired, like, you know, so... I don't know, it seems the consensus is like my old consensus, and it's always been the consensus since 2012. The show is not good. You know, it's pretty mediocre, or it's pretty mid, you know, kind of shit. Like, it's not as good as the original, but, like, I would say, like, you know, that's my conclusion here. It's, like, better than the later 2 seasons of the original show, and I actually really like it, you know? For somehow they did it. It's too bad we didn't get more. But, like, honestly, I don't think we even needed that much more. I wish back then, and, like, let's say, like, maybe a year or 2 later, they just did, like a TV movie that tied it up, or, like, I don't know, they said that this was based on, like, a book series or something that they'd come out with for Code Lyoko, so, like, maybe they could have just tied it up in, like, a comic or a book or something. Would have been nice, you know, the whole Aelita's mom, like, stuff, or whatever. Like, that could have been interesting. It's not going to take much more, is the idea, but... Am I, like, heartbroken that I don't get to see any of that? Like, no. Like, they still destroyed Xana again in the end. Like, it was kind of contrived to bring him back, to have to destroy him again, kind of thing. But it's like, yeah, think about it. Like, Xana's pretty smart. He would have made copies of himself. Like, that makes a lot of sense. Like, it's almost contrived to think that he wouldn't have made copies of himself. Like... yeah, totally. If Xana's, like, a super AI, like, definitely would have made copies of himself. Yeah, for sure. So I like that. I think they did well with that storyline, and I was thoroughly surprised about Code Lyoko Evolution, and it's a high recommendation to Code Lyoko fans. I'm sure half of who have never seen this show because they fucking heard terrible things about it. But it's all online on YouTube. I think I don't know if it's the actual official Code Lyoko page, but it says that it's the actual official Code Lyoko
welcome
page or whatever. It's let's see. Code Lyoko English official US. And yeah, so if you go there to that page, they have all of the episodes. And I made a convenient playlist that is public that has, because they don't have a playlist on there. I made a playlist of all of the episodes, like, in order. So if you want to, like, watch them just on the playlist, go to my channel,
Jeremy,
my other channel.
I think I just heard Santa.
He's
up to something. Go and hide in the deactivated tower. Jeremy? Jeremy?
I'm at school. Xana's attacking. I'll head for the factory, but you guys have to...
Huh?
No, seriously. It's a great show. I really recommend it to fans. I don't know how this happened. My brain is still fucking, like, trying to blow, right? Like, the show is fucking good. I cannot fathom in my head. So, I know, I'm typing it. It does still suffer from a couple of the
Would you mind concentrating? Do I have to remind you there's a tower to deactivate?
This wireless monster! The brains of magnificent pissed finally overcome his handicap and is now caught up with his opponent. Temporarily, of course, because
go to the cortex.
Tower deactivated.
It's still the same.
Worse than Mrs. Hertz's class.
When I finished out Code Lyoko, the original show, I was kind of burned out. By
We need to talk. You come home late every single night.
What's going on, dear? If you have a problem, you know you can tell us.
Aside from
The worst thing is I hate lying to them.
And just explain to them that we're fighting in a virtual universe against a demonic artificial intelligence. That ought to reassure them.
like, yeah,
Dork.
that's gonna happen.
You
Get used to it. They
Hey, how do I look?
pretty
I'm
good.
not sure you
And
really want to know.
Even Odd, who doesn't look anything like Odd, I like the
It's no
new
good
Odd,
again, aren't you?
know?
No, we were just studying together.
Your paranoid behavior and your one-track mind concerning these children are getting on my nerves. You're a physical education teacher, not a detective.
We'll start today with some basic training.
I'd like to know what you had to do that was so important last night. And I'm gonna find out what your big secret is.
It seems that lately Xana's getting more and more active.
Hey, sorry to interrupt, but do you mind telling me who this Santa dude is?
But it's also kind of
A super dangerous program. Like a virus which can control electricity and it activates towers on Lyoko to gain access to your world. Only Aelita can counter it by deactivating the tower that it uses for attacks in the real world.
Wow, what is this thing, huh? And what are you guys doing here?
Xana can attack at any moment.
bring in new concepts. Overall, for any fan of Code Lyoko who hasn't seen it, it's awesome. The subtitles are actually pretty well done. So, yeah, that's it. I mean, Code Lyoko Evolution.
Hey, fighting happens to be your job. I said that it was simple, but not easy.
After all, we are Lyoko warriors, aren't we?
It's a ridiculous number rating, but yeah, but I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. You know, it was a great continuation to Code Lyoko, which I really wasn't expecting. I felt unresolved at the end of Code Lyoko anyway. So to get basically what is basically another season of Code Lyoko through Evolution, and to get to, develop William's character a little bit more, and continue on with our main cast there, and even add a new great character in Laura, and get to just spend a little more time in that world, and have Jim be a great character again. It's just like, I don't know, I really liked it. I really liked Code Lyoko Evolution. I'm shocked as all of you. So, go check it out. Until next time, This is Emily. Never forget, or stick around, subscribe to join the Bad Girl Coven. Never forget, magic comes from the heart, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Emily.